Hi, I'm Nico and I'll be your host for this episode. Today we're going to meet Darice and Jane, two product enthusiasts who are from NUS ENterprise House and also found the NUS Product Club.
Turning into Lorong product.
Maybe to start off, could we have like a quick introduction of you, or maybe Darice can go first?
Hi, I'm Darice. Currently the head of operations at NUS Product Club. So I graduated from NUS Economics last December, and I'm currently working as like a UI UX designer at TBWA Singapore, which is an advertising agency. Yeah.
Okay, maybe what about you, Jane?
Hi everyone, I am Jane. So I was previously the co-founder and head of partnerships for NUS Product Club, and I also graduated from NUS Economics. So Darice was my batchmate, and I'm currently a full-time product manager at tech startup Paso Perform.
Darice, would you like to share more about like maybe your current internship experience? How has it been like?
So currently, working in an advertising agency is quite different from my past internships where I've always worked in-house in a product team. So in an advertising agency, we mainly like serve our clients, and currently the main client that my agency and my team is working on is Singapore Airlines. So I'm mainly like designing the website and the mobile site for Singapore Airlines, mainly on the KrisFlyer site. And then, sorry, what's the question?
No. And then just like how was the experience like?
I think I've just started in the role about like a month ago, so I think the experience has been quite enriching and quite different. Because I have to work with like different clients, so there are like many like different projects, and the timeline and deadlines can be quite tight. So that's something that I'm trying to get used to. And so in my current like role, I don't really get to work with like developers as much as I would like to, as compared to my previous roles in GovTech, where I work with like my product team, which consisted of like developers, my quality engineers, my BAs and PMs, like very in a closely knitted product squad. But then currently, maybe because I'm just starting, so maybe there are like future opportunities for me to work more closely with the developers.
So the like working environment feels very different lah.
Yeah.
At least now different and compared to GovTech.
Yeah.
Okay. Then like mainly you've done like a lot of internships in like fields of product, and like I think mainly you are leaning towards more like product design, right, rather than like product management. Maybe what do you feel is like kind of like a difference between them? Is there one that you prefer more from like your experience?
I don't think I actually have like a preference between like product design and product management. I think product management is something that I have like a slight interest in, but I think because I think more of my experiences and more of like what I think I'm capable and better at doing is design. So like much of my experiences have been more like towards product design. I feel like the skill sets needed for being a product manager, I think it's like more like demanding than being a product designer. Because I think for product designer, I think the key skill is really to be able to design well, and I think the focus is just more like doing like design work and I guess talking to like the users. But I think for product managers, there's a need to manage your different stakeholders, like your business side, your developer side, and also like with your UX team and also with the users as well. So it's a lot of like stakeholders to manage. And I think for designers, we don't really like work so much with the business. It really depends on which company you are at, but in most of my experiences, I have not really gotten to work that much with businesses. And also because I did not come from a technical background, so if I want to like speak the same language as the developers, I think I would have like to like need to upskill a bit more on the tech side. Yeah, which I don't have it currently. So I lean towards more towards like product design.
Okay. At least it seems like you kind of like know what you're doing and like you've got a lot of experience in product already lah. Maybe for Jane, I know you're also from economics background and you've done more like maybe businessy internships like investment or like marketing. Maybe what made you decide to like pursue product management as like a future like career path?
Sure. So I actually started in I think a marketing internship, and then I went on to try business development as well as sales, like as an SDR. And then I felt like all three roles were not really for me because they were either quite repetitive. So like sales, you generate leads and then you reach out to your leads and maybe like alter the way your like outreach strategy or like your messaging. Whereas for marketing and for business development, some elements of the role are repetitive as well. So I didn't really fully feel like all these roles were like suited for me. So I think the turning point for me came in 2021 when I did my NOC internship. It wasn't so much an internship because the role was not really relevant to product management, but I was in Silicon Valley, so that area was the tech hub of the world. It's known as the tech hub of the world, where a lot of tech professionals like software engineers or product managers are situated there because there's a lot of innovation there as well. So that kind of exposed me to product management, what product managers do, and I felt like it could be something that suited me because as I mentioned, I don't really like repetitive roles or tasks, and knowing that a product manager's role is quite dynamic, so I thought that I wanted to try it out. But at that point I didn't know, right, because I haven't been a product manager. So when I came back, I took an LOA, found my first product internship, which was not easy, but whatever, like, company was willing to take me. So I found my first product internship, and I really enjoyed the role. It was a lot to pick up, like a lot of soft skills, stakeholder management, having technical empathy as well, because I am not a computer science major or analytics students, right? So understanding technical constraints and how much to push the developers was something that I had to pick up on a job. So I really liked that, and so that was why I considered product management. And then I went on to my second internship and then my full-time role now.
So you did I saw that you did like an intern, then you transitioned to like a full-time role at like the same job. So maybe how was the transition like?
So I interned in the enterprise side of my company, and then when I joined like the consumer side of the company.
Different.
So I think I can speak in terms of the transition being seamless, in a sense that I knew the product processes, which is pretty much the same for the entire company. I knew everybody there. Like there were some changes, like new faces and stuff, but it's still a very nice, like, familiar feeling to kind of go back to. But I had to relearn, I guess, some parts of the product that I wasn't familiar with before. So enterprise and consumer is very different. I had to pick up like more domain knowledge, and then I also had to, because I'm working with a different squad and a different dev team, right? So I have to build rapport, build camaraderie with them. And my tech lead right now is not easy to work with, so there are stuff like that you kind of have to learn, like how to navigate your stakeholders, navigate your like expectations of your stakeholders. So I would say that I'm having a great time now. I'm just trying to like gather more domain knowledge.
Okay, hope that your tech lead won't see this podcast. So Jane mentioned that she went NOC also, so like I know Darice, you've also gone NOC, so maybe you'd like to share about your NOC experiences? Maybe Darice can start.
Yeah, so I went to NOC Ho Chi Minh City. So this is in Vietnam, back in early 2022. I think back then my internship during my NOC was a product and UX design internship. I mean, on paper it's UX design internship, but as you know, in a startup, you don't really just do like one thing, you do like multiple roles. So during my time there, I was really more of like a product intern than a design intern. So not only got to do UI UX work, but also more of like doing like competitor research, competitor analysis, also working with like the tech team, to solve like like bug issues, and to ensure that the app, the product that we were pushing out, like passed like quality checks also. And I think towards the end of my internship was also doing a bit of like growth marketing as well. So I really got to do like different aspects of product development. I think that also kind of made me like a bit more interested in doing like a focusing more towards like a product role. But I think in general, if I don't want to talk a bit more about my NOC like experience, I think it is quite life-changing. For me, because I have never really like lived alone yet, in a foreign country where I do not speak the language. So in Vietnam, they all speak Vietnamese, and I don't really know a single word of like Vietnamese besides like the basic, phrases that they use. So it was really like quite a difficult starting point for me. So I also live alone, so I don't really have anyone to turn to when I actually like need help. So I think one of the most like memorable incident I can recall is that my house, like this apartment that I live in, was like constantly invested with like rain flies or whatever. So it's like super bad, and it happened like multiple times. And at that I just don't know how to deal with it back then. So I just like bought like it's like I just spray my room, and my room is like is damn toxic. Cause
you spray it all
Cause
the
I
time.
sprayed, then I was actually like generally worried for my health because I sprayed like so much, and I was like, oh my god, am I going to like develop any like health issues? But I think like beyond that, I trying to like learn to like deal with my own like issues with my house. I think also got to like meet a lot of like friends also. I mean, particularly I'm not like super close to my batchmates, but actually I was quite close to like my juniors who came over in the summer. So NOC Southeast Asia has a summer program. So I met some of my friends from there. And I think till now we still talk a lot. We still are friends. And I think some of us also like became friends because of our common interest in product also. Yeah. And I think not just, working and, living, but also like the traveling experience also. I think during my time, fortunately, I was able to like travel to different parts of Vietnam. And I think that really opened up my world a little bit more because when people think of like Vietnam, in Southeast Asia, it's like a third world country, it's like very like backward and stuff. But I think, my time in Vietnam, I think really I've met like a lot of Vietnamese who are like very, very nice, very hospitable. And then I think I got to see, a lot of other places that I really wouldn't have known if I have never like gone there in the first place.
It seems like it was a turning point for you personally and also for like your interest in product. Maybe do you think like there is like a difference from like interning at like a product role in Vietnam and like in Singapore? Do you feel like there's a difference in like the things that you do as a product intern?
I don't really think there was a huge difference because mainly my company is located in Singapore and in Vietnam. So the tech team is in Vietnam and the product and the business team is in Singapore. So I really got to work in like both Singapore and Vietnam. And because the product team is based in Singapore, so I didn't really feel like there was a lot of like difference.
Quite connected.
Yeah, it's just like working with developers in, from Vietnam, I think there's a need to slow down because English is not their first language. So as Singaporeans, we speak very fast in general. English is like something that we're very comfortable with, but it's something that it's not their main language. So I think learning how to overcome this language like barrier and learning to like adjust a bit when we work with people who are of a different like background and culture. I think that's something that's quite different now compared to like doing like maybe like a product internship in Singapore where most of the team are Singaporeans who kind of speak the same language as you.
It sounds like you had a great NOC experience in Vietnam. Maybe for Jane, how was your NOC experience in Silicon Valley? Way far away from Vietnam.
Yeah, way far away, halfway across the world. So my internship was 8 months long. It's supposed to be a year long. But it was 8 months long. Like it was cut short because of COVID. So earlier I mentioned that it was very eye-opening because we are in the tech hub of the world. In general, I feel like the atmosphere feels a bit different. I know like it probably sounds very, exaggerated, but it really does feel quite electrifying because everybody there, they are just like on about the next big idea. They are all they are not risk averse like, people in, I guess, Southeast Asian or Asian countries. And they are very willing to take risks and take bets on things that haven't proven to work but they believe a lot in. Yeah, so that was that. But I think for myself, my experience, it was eye-opening in a few aspects. So I'll talk about maybe my house first. I mean the fact that the idea of living with housemates, living abroad, kind of being away from your support system, right? So so I mean that was a lot of first for me. I have never lived away from home before for like an extended period of time. I've never really traveled with friends a lot before that. I mean, I've never bought a car before. I don't think I'll buy a car in Singapore ever, but I bought a car there, and yeah, it was quite interesting to kind of be on the end to kind of make big decisions like that. And also because you are in such a place, like in such a role, right, you kind of have to, like, everything is kind of on yourself to do the due diligence, like figure out, okay, what are some necessary things to do before you buy a car, like maybe bring it to get like a pre-purchase inspection. Yeah, but despite all that, I still bought a lemon, so a bit disappointing. Yeah, and then the navigating living with housemates, that's another big thing. So there is live alone, which I think I would have enjoyed because I love being by myself. But living with housemates, so one of them was my friend before that. Two of them were the friends of that friend. So we were like mutual friends. But living with three guys was not the most fun. Yeah, and then even though one guy was my friend, we uncovered a lot of, I guess, like habits that each of us have. I mean, I'm not perfect as well. I have my like shortcomings, but it was interesting to kind of navigate that and to like really up our communication skills, really like work through any confrontations or conflicts that we have and still be like a happy house together. Yeah. And in terms of traveling, so because I was in the US, I think at that time it was the pandemic, so we couldn't travel out of the US. But I mean, the US is big enough as it is, so we still did quite a lot of like hikes. We flew to like a bunch of different states, and we even hung out with like NOC New York, so that was really fun. Yeah, and then on the professional side, so for my own internship, my role was as it was an investment analyst in a VC. My VC was investing in digital media entertainment. So some of the verticals were like AR, VR, creator economy, blockchain gaming. So very niche topics and very focused on that like certain domains. So I think on a professional side, I had to learn to step out of my comfort zone. So I think maybe a bit of background into the scope of what a VC analyst does. We are kind of like the filter, the first layer to kind of evaluate like startup companies, right? So like reaching out to companies, inbound leads where startups are looking for funding and they email you or they reach out to your company. So you're kind of the first layer to evaluate these companies and see which are the worthy ones to bring to your partner. And also because my VC was very small, so a lot of that, there was a very specific funnel, yeah, in terms of like the responsibilities for each of our roles. So I had to do a lot of talking to people. I mean, because the funnel is like this, and my managing partner's time is very protected, right? So he talks to leads that he talks to companies that my partner passes on. So in a way like I have to kind of go to a lot of companies to even narrow down like the ones that are potentially investable. So I went to quite a few like tech conferences, quite a few different like events, even like networking events, to look for startups, to talk to people. And it was I think the imposter syndrome for me was quite strong because I'm just like an analyst and people don't even know I'm an intern, right? I haven't even graduated. And then you're talking to like MBA or like, I don't know, people with 20 years of experience trying to start a company, and then they are trying to pitch to you on why I should invest in them. So I was like, okay, I just had to like try and compose myself and pretend I know my shit. and yeah, I mean, I guess like over time on the job, you start to anticipate a lot of similar questions. You do your own research before talking to certain companies or founders. You do your own research as to, you know, what they're doing, what their product is about, which space they're in, and like certain market trends. So learning on the job was also another thing. And I remember at one of the first conferences I went to like all the keynote events, and after that everybody would gather outside to kind of network, exchange like name cards and contact information. But I was so scared to even make a first move that I didn't talk to anybody at all. So I was so disappointed that I was like, okay, the next day I'm going back and I'm gonna talk to at least 2 people. So I think my time in San Francisco can be summarized by the phrase stepping out of my comfort zone, because it really forced me to really embrace the imposter syndrome, do something about it, and just try. Yeah.
I'm sure that even though you're not in the role of like investment analyst anymore, these skills really help you also in your day-to-day life. So it's a good experience so far.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe like if y'all could go NOC again, where would y'all want to go?
Okay, for me, I would either go to NOC Ho Chi Minh because I really love Vietnam. Vietnam is my favorite country. Or I will go to either of the cities in China, NOC China. Yeah,
What about you, Darice?
because of their work attitude and work ethic.
I think for me, I think some background info. Actually, I did not really plan to go to NOC Ho Chi Minh City initially. I think before my application, I really wanted to go to NOC like Beijing or Shanghai. Because for me, I feel that, China is really really an emerging like country. Like things change very fast in China. Like the speed of how they innovate, and the new things that come out of there, it's just really wow to me. And I think that's something that I, as a Singaporean, I should be there to learn from them and bring it back to Singapore. And I think that's one. It's either China or Stockholm, because I personally myself actually, prior to going to NOC, I was actually working on like a medtech startup project. So I think I would have benefited a lot and learned a bit more about like the medtech scene if I've actually went to Stockholm, which is where I think a lot of medtech and health tech startups are currently at. Yeah.
Now we'll ask the founders of NUSPC some questions about their experience starting a club from scratch. So maybe how was it like starting the club completely from nothing?
I think it's quite a struggle. I think I attribute a lot of to starting a club to being in the startup environment that I was exposed to prior to NUS Product Club. I think there are a lot of things that, because it's a new thing, right? So there are a lot of possibilities. There's no legacy that you have to follow, but there's also nothing set in stone. So for me, I have to really set a lot of the groundwork, because I do operations. So it's more even the simplest thing, doing a form template, an email template, lots of templates, and making sure that everything goes smoothly for the event. Even things taking attendance and all that kind of thing. It's kind of set in stone by my team and I, yeah. And also, because we also didn't really know where to how should we structure our club, what should we focus on, who should we even target, and what kind of programs should we even carry out. But I think what really helped a lot was that luckily we're not the first in the local universities to start a product club. I think I was very blessed that we actually sought the advice of SMU Product Club, which started a product club about a few years prior to us. And I think that really helped us gain a bit of insights as to how we should structure our events, how we should structure our club also. Yeah.
Maybe for Jane?
I think the reason why we started a club was because a few of us, so the initial co-founders, we noticed that personally, I noticed that there were product clubs in the other universities like SMU, NTU, right? And for me, at that time, I was really interested in product management, but there wasn't really resources for us to kind of tap into in school. And then Kaylee, one of the co-founders and the VP right now, she actually reached out to a few of us on LinkedIn because of some product title that she saw in our LinkedIn.
So cute.
And then she was like, maybe they would be interested in starting a product club. Yeah, so that was how it came about. So we were actually strangers. So Katie and I were strangers, but a few of us were actually connected by NUS ENterprise House. So that was how the initial team came about. And I think the vision was really to build a club where anyone who was interested in anything product related, be it product management or product design, could come together, could tap into resources the industrial attachment that we have, or the curriculum workshops that we have, even shorter term commitments coming down to listen to fireside chats, right, by product managers or product people in the industry with many years of experience. So I think that was the starting point. In terms of the process itself, it was good that all of us were aligned in that vision. So I think starting in the first semester, so 2 semesters ago, we kind of hit the ground running. We had a lot of initiatives for a club with no official recognition by the student body. Not by the student body, by
student body.
Yeah, by the student body. We were not endorsed by OSA. So it was very difficult in the sense that we didn't have venues that we could book. We didn't really have partners or professors that we could work with. So we had to be quite scrappy and partner with certain people who are more willing to work with us. For example, in the first semester, we launched the PM1101E, which is a curriculum workshop that spans like 6 weeks. We worked with the head of product, Jason at Trust Bank, who kind of acted as a figure and mentor to guide the curriculum of the workshop, and he also helped to kind of host all the 6 workshops. And then we also worked with Isaac, who is the VP of product at Shopback, who was very kind to loan us like the venue to have the workshop at. So a lot of efforts were made to kind of overcome this challenge of not being recognized and not having easy alternatives. But I think the team, like the co-founding team, the president and VP, were all we all put in a lot of effort, to kind of hit the ground running and to have a lot of initiatives that I felt like was quite an achievement for a club that was 1 semester old. So besides PM111E, we also had 3 fireside chats, and operations also solidified a lot of SOPs, a lot of processes and templates, right? So I'm very proud of how far the team has come, and to see even more initiatives like industrial attachment this semester and even a podcast series. I think the marketing team also did like such a great job. So it's quite, I never thought that starting a club would be I thought that starting a club is difficult, but it's quite inspiring to see everybody kind of pull their efforts and make it what it is now.
Would you say that like your experiences like were kind of like what you expected before like you went into it, or was it like, were you like surprised by like many things?
I think for me, what really surprised me a lot was that people were actually really willing to offer their time, their precious free time, after work, to come and speak to like students who are aspiring like product managers, and they do this like kind of out of goodwill. Because I think recently, as my team, the operations team, is preparing for the pitch to OSA, I think one of the questions that OSA like asked us was, do these like speakers, do they ask for any like monetary compensation? And surprisingly, there was no one who have actually asked us for any monetary compensation. And actually, I was also very surprised because sometimes in like our emails and our Instagram like direct messages, we also get like messages from people who are just like willing to like work with us. I think we have gotten like emails from like different companies also who are just willing to help support us, who wanted to like speak at events and just really help us out. I think that really like surprised me because we're not like fully registered with the school yet. Soon it will happen. But just the people were just really willing to help us, to help students, which was something which is so like, I don't know, mind-blowing, because these people, these product managers, right, who are already working, they could have spent their free time, doing other things, but they choose to like spend their time giving back to the community and actually trying to help and mentor the next generation of product managers.
Now that like NUS Product Club is like so established and we have like a community of people that actually come down to like our events and our like workshops, what would you say are like maybe your future aspirations for the club?
Maybe you can take this question.
I wouldn't say it's so established. I mean, it has only been 2 semesters.
More established.
Yeah, more established. I think as time goes by and more credibility is built and the legacy that Darice mentioned, there's a greater community, with more seniors and alumni, and I'm sure there will be more people who have benefited from NUS Product Club and goes on to become like product managers or product designers. There would be this community that I think that was part of our original vision, where people could be part of something bigger and one where seniors and alumni is very willing to come and give back to the juniors or like to whoever was simply interested in product. So I think yeah, I think if you ask me like what I envision or what I aspire to, it's to have this very big community that that's just passionate about product. Yeah.
Yeah. I think. Oh, is it ending?
No, we don't need to end.
I think it's quite similar to our point, building a big product community. But I think for me, like my goal, like for NUS Product Club in the future, is also quite a simple goal. I think to see like more students consider product management as like a possible career path, or even through our events they make a more like well-informed like career decision. And I think at the end of the day we just hope that they take away something from attending our events, joining our like curriculum, or even being part of like the industrial attachment, going on to become a product leader or like a product manager.
Thank you, Jane and Darice, for making time to come down today to join our podcast. Do you guys have anything else that you'd like to add for our viewers?
So I think for all students who are interested in anything product related,
Join NUSPC!
Thanks for coming to the end of this episode of Lorong Product. Click here to see more of our previous episodes.